Blog Talk Radio.
Ladies and gentlemen, I am Glenn D. Grace. Welcome to Season 7, Episode 12 of A Touch of Grace. Now, I'm going to have to do a little stalling here because today's guest is one very busy man. So anyway, for those of you tuning in at the later live time, thank you so much. I couldn't do it without you. And I just want to give a shout out to the past guests that have been on the show and also encourage future guests who's going to be on the show in the course of the next few weeks and months. Anyway, I'm going to start the show off like this. It took many years of vomiting up all the filth I'd been taught about myself and have believed before I was able to walk on the earth as though I had a right to be here. Now, that one hit me and resonates within my soul very well. James Baldwin was a pioneer back when the civil rights movement was very heated. And based on what's happening in today's world, it seems to me like we've got a long way to go. But James Baldwin was a pioneer for LGBT rights even before it got all those official letters later on. So I started off with that because it matters to me. Now, I'm kind of learning to talk off the cuff today, and so I'm going to tell you a little bit about today's guest. Kevin E. Taylor is working on his greatness while he inspires you to walk in yours. He is a noted author. Some of his books include Jaded, Unclutter, Because He Lives, It's Time for Some Action, Envy, The Darkest Shade of Green. One of my favorite titles, Get Off Your Ass and Do Something, and Meet the Hendersons. He's also a pastor at Unity Fellowship Church, Newark, New Jersey, for 10 years, and senior pastor at Unity Fellowship Church in New Brunswick for 12 years. He's a writer and a producer for television for 30 years. Now, I am going to go ahead and read this. Hopefully it doesn't come off as a laundry list, but I have to tell you just how dynamic this guy is. As a producer, he has interviewed legends such as the late Tina Turner. He has interviewed Stevie Wonder, Anita Baker, the late Luther Vandross, Diana Ross, and Patti LaBelle. He has helped to launch the careers of such icons as Maxwell, Brandy, the late DMX, B2K, and the late Aaliyah, whose last video, Rock the Boat, was featured in his Access-granted special for the BET network. It goes on. He created such award-winning programming for BET as Testimony, where he interviewed Mariah Carey, Babyface, Busta Rhymes, Sade and Mary J. Blige, Lyrically Speaking, Notarized, and Music Inside Out. He was nominated for NAACP Image Awards for both Access Granted and Testimony in the same category in the same year. And like I mentioned before, he is a writer and a producer for television for more than 30 years. And he is just a fabulous, fabulous talent. So as I kind of stall time for a little bit because he shoots me messages say that he is on a bus. So I agreed to extend the time for the start of today's show because today's interview meant that much to me. The people that I have interviewed this season are some real movers and shakers. Not only are they some movers and shakers, but they're very kind and humble. And whereas I started off my YouTube channel, well, not my YouTube channel, but my Facebook page with over 2,000 people who never acknowledged me, never commented, even if I commented on their post. I'm down to about 800 people on the page right now, and I'm being very skeptical adding any new people on because it's about communication. Communication is a big thing for me. So let me preface something by saying that I am no saint. I fall far from the grace of the higher power as everyone else on this planet, but I know I am a beautiful soul. And so when I started A Touch of Grace, my blog, independent of this, had undergone several changes since its inception. And I go back every now and then to see some of the stuff I've written. But I finally settled this past year on calling it Beautiful Soul because it's how I see myself in this existence. So it is something that is near and dear to me. It is something that I learned about in early recovery, sort of journaling your thoughts. And in this day of mental health being brought to the forefront, I'm glad to be part of a movement that definitely helped shape my life because I was an addict alcoholic, using for a number of years, trying to find myself, hating myself for who I was. And once I was able to get clean over 13 years ago, I was able to be treated for my own mental health issue, which is bipolar 2. So I call myself a walking miracle. I find that in this life, you must do some serious soul searching, and you must also be willing to unlearn what you have been taught since childhood. Now, part of my childhood, and those of you who are religious, please do not get this the wrong way. Don't take this the wrong way. If anything destroyed my spirit the most during the early years, it was sitting in the pews of the church listening to the fire and brimstone sermons that assured me that I, being a gay man, was an abomination destined for hell. Okay, now I'm sharing these things because A Touch of Grace not only showcases people who are movers and shakers, other creatives, real people that are out here making a difference in this crazy world. And Lord knows we need it. I share my story as often as I do because I'm not sharing for the people that are not interested in hearing what I have to say. I'm sharing it for that individual who might be out there at the end of their rope, looking for some type of light to let them know that they're okay. And they don't even have to be gay or lesbian or bisexual or transgender. They could just be a regular person. They could be black. They could be white. They could be Filipino. They could be in their struggle. My greatest love is that I embrace, I have a cultural diversity of people in my circle. And I learned quite a bit about other cultures and everything. So I'd like to be a light in a world of division right now, because everybody, we really, really, really have a lot of work to do. And my earliest dealings with religion, they really did a number on my brain because I lived in a state of depression for many years, locked in inner turmoil about being homosexual. And self-hate, it really leads you to some very dark places. So if you get nothing out of what I just said, then get this. Whoever you are, whoever you love, you're worth it. And I want you to hear that again. Whoever you are and whoever you love, you're worth it. If you're in a relationship that is, and this is platonic relationships or intimate ones, that are destroying you spiritually, that don't have you feeling good about yourself, where you find yourself crying, staring out the window, or going to sleep, or laying next to somebody you feel like you don't even know, or someone you feel isn't even listening to you. Beautiful souls, those are not challenges. They're warning signs. You know, they're warning signs for you to think better of yourself, because you're all you've got. Now, when I reflect on that long stretch of brokenness, how it took place over the course of so many years, it could be an excuse for me to wallow around in self-pity about the years I lost being unhappy. But I refuse to do it. I refuse to allow the remaining years of my life to be overshadowed by this despair and dismay that brought me to who I have become today. I know my lane, and I have my own narrative. Now, there's a lot going on out in the entertainment industry, especially with our Black entertainers. There's a lot of pain going on out there. There's a lot of rage and anger being hurled back and forth among some of our entertainers, and it breaks my heart. It just breaks my heart because here we are in 2024. And rather than moving ahead, there's still so much going on. And I am careful not to speak about and name anybody in the industry because I don't want that type of smoke. I don't want someone to, say that Glenn D. Graves made these statements about so-and-so, because that's not what my platform is all about. God knows there's enough platforms out there that are addressing these issues. And so I know the lane that I have chosen to stay in, and it's safe for me. Okay? So about today's guest, who looks like he has joined me, I actually already spoke his name and introduced him a little while ago. But now that I see that he has joined me, I am going to go ahead and invite him on to the show. So bear with me just a second.
Good afternoon, Glenn. Good afternoon. Good afternoon, Rick King.
Has your voice changed? Because I've known your voice to be this big booming, that takes.
Hold on, listen. What I said to you earlier is I'm 2 stops from my office. So you're listening to trying to be civilized, waiting for you to ask the first question so I can get out in public and talk back.
Okay, because let me just tell you one thing. I had to listen to Mary J. Blige's Beautiful and the main ingredients rolling down the mountainside. I said, let me get these butterflies out of here because, like so many that have been on the show this season, oh my God, it's not that I saved the best for last because all of them are the best, but let me just tell you right now, brother, you are one powerful spirit.
I appreciate you. I appreciate that. And I appreciate, what God has given me the space and grace to do because, part of what you were saying is about the industry and how people have used the opportunity that the industry has provided for them. All I can say is God keeps on doing great things for me, and God knows it's me. So my assignment is to show up. So I do.
Yeah, exactly. And I know that you are in the rooms with a lot of, power players in the industry and who are mainstream and have been over the years. And so, Kevin, what I want to know and what I want, and I'm asking this question for the listeners so that they will really know who you are. In the beginning, for you, being also a fellow gay man, were there struggles or of self-hate for yourself coming into your own power?
So when I came into the industry, I came into BET, but I came from working in public space already. I came from working in government office already. I'd already engaged the public already. So I thought, that I was going into the entertainment industry to be the butterfly version of myself because I was out in government offices. I had occasion where my Venezuelan partner would call me and they would wait. They would wait until they would hold him on the phone until trying to get off. They would hold him on the phone until I got back to the office. If I had run an errand because they knew him, they knew who he was, they knew what he represented to me, and so coming to the industry, I thought, I get to be free. So it wasn't a problem. It wasn't problematic for me. What was problematic was to see that it was a problem for other people, not just people of service, in the industry in their various roles, but other people like myself who weren't free, who weren't there, who weren't out, who weren't present to who they were. You know, they thought, I think what they thought was, I got this opportunity, so I got to act right. You know what I mean? And so
right.
It was sad because I came into BET, that's my portal, you know, having served as the co-chair of the DC Coalition of Black Lesbians, Gay Men, Bisexuals, and Transgender. I was that the male co-chair. And so when we had an occasion when Buju Banton was trying to come on one of our shows, or was trying to be booked on one of our shows, you know, I was tapping gay men on the shoulders and saying, I don't need you to be out like me, but I need you to not be in my way. Because this ain't going to happen.
Okay.
This ain't going to happen. And so I had a woman who was, you know, producing the show say, who is this? You know, who is this? And who is he to decide who's on my show? And I was like, now, if somebody wrote a song about raping a woman, I would hope you would be okay if I opened my loud mouth to say something. Because I'm opening my mouth to say something if somebody that wrote a song about hunting a gay couple down and killing them.
As a someone who is very present and out in the public eye, because I'm more so of an introvert for right now, because I don't know what God has in store for me moving forward, especially as the show continues to. God, it's even growing bigger than it was last time.
Come on, sir. Speak on it.
Yeah,
speak on it. Speak over it. Huh?
Yeah, because you called me king during that last show, and you never know what that instills in me, but as somebody being out there, from your broad view, do you see that things are getting better for us as Black people? And what are your thoughts about this whole down low phenomena, right, that continues, that it just won't die?
Well, I mean, if we're going to be 100, let's be 100. The down low phenomenon can't die. It cannot die because of both sides of the coin. One side of the coin says if you're gay, it means this, this, or this. And that's because, you know, there are certain elements, certain kinds, certain representations of LGBTQ folks that the media likes to track. They like to track it because it's easier to see, it's bigger, it's brighter. There's less of a story to tell, if you will. You understand the contestant on RuPaul's Drag Race or the sassy assistant or the saucy Santana. You know what I mean? We understand that you have to unpack a character if he doesn't look like what you think he looks like. And, you know, then that means you have to do the work of telling the story, right? And when you think about that, think of how many gay men struggled with Moonlight or didn't see it because I heard or don't know about it, and they didn't. And at the end, I wish they had. And I was like, but it won Best Motion Picture, a thing that had never happened for a Black-led film in history. And the people who came at it most were gay men, right? And it's also us who come at he don't look like a top or he don't look like a bottom or, you know, we talk about labels and nobody puts them on us harder than us. So nobody, you know, we have ridiculous conversations about femme tops and, you know, a bottom with a big, it's the most ridiculous stuff that you have to understand why some people are like, yeah, I'm going to stay over here and, you know, what I do in my personal life is my business, right? And let's add to that, how many gay men calling themselves out who tear Atlanta up and, you know, and tear DC down for Memorial Day weekend, which is coming, who have either two forms of social media, one their family can see and one they can't, or you see them in photos and they hug up on their girlfriends and barely pose beside their boyfriends. They don't even know that they don't even realize they do it consciously, that they are real close and safe or intimate or whatever it is, the thing that they are with their girlfriends, you know. And with guys, you can't tell who the friend from the Judy from the trade from the one night stand, because we don't offer that kind of vulnerability in how we show up.
You know, I guess that's why I'm taking so long to write my sixth book, being that I wrote those first five so quickly, because I know better now. I think the first five are just kind of purges, and I really wanted to say something about that. And you touch bases on a couple of things that I want to offer my little 2 cents on. I thought that once I started talking to somebody that was more established, which in this particular case was a nurse who was part of Black Nurse Coalition, I thought, oh, wow, maybe this is the one for me. And let me tell you what stopped me dead in my track and turned me off, Kevin, is when he said, now you look like a top or you look like a bottom. And something just burns me the hell up when somebody, it's like I don't identify as a damn sexual position. It's like, I thought that in a more prestigious work person, for lack of better words, I thought with a profession like that there would be some type of separation. Now, don't get me wrong. For people that like that, that's just not me. And I think the thing that irritates me the most about mainstream media is what they choose to pick out, like the Pride Parade. Of course, they're going to go for the most extravagant and arrogant. And another thing that bothers me, too, and no shade to the actors, because I love Moonlight, but those two brothers weren't even gay, and...
okay, but you have to unpack that, Glenn. Let's be very clear. You have to unpack that in a way that says, so those brothers weren't gay. Who are the two gay men you would have put in that movie? Who are the two gay actors you would have put in that movie? I'm waiting, because, Coleman Domingo been acting forever. But that's what I was going to say, Coleman Domingo. Get out of my head. You understand that? So we always talk. Those six men, quite frankly, because the two younger gentlemen who represent the future, who represent that teenager who were playing 17-year-olds in high school, are the only two who kissed. So they are the two who had the biggest weight on their shoulders, big straight identified boys who kissed, who simulated a sexual act, who simulated the intimacy, right? And they took that on and won Best Kiss on the MTV Awards.
And I ate it up. I've watched that movie a few times. You understand me?
So at the end of the day, we say we wanted to look like us, so we wanted to look like us, or know that they laid down like us. Because, I said a thing the other day when somebody was going off on a roll about the way somebody showed up. I was like, can y'all let black actors act, please? I don't want the gay characters to only be able to play gay characters. I don't want that either. I don't want the gay actors to only be able to play gay. Because if we do that, then what we're doing is setting up a scenario where they're always out and never let in. I respect Rockmond Dunbar so much because Rockmond Dunbar has played a gay character 3
times. Yes, he has.
He's given me different characters each time and has never once been brought out a girl, brought out a wife, brought out a side piece to say, hey, in case y'all were confused, here's my woman. I don't do this for real. He's never gone that step that actors do to say, hey, I'm not like that. I'm just acting. He has taken on the role for all it represents and has given it to us triumphantly. That is what we want from representation and what I want from an actor.
I love
Period.
It. I love it. And
I shouldn't know anybody's business. I should know who, as you were saying about this nurse, you should know who anybody lays down. And if you're getting to know me, you shouldn't know how I lay down until we're talking about laying down. I'm not going to say we wait till we lay down, but at least till we talk about it. And if we ain't had no time to be together yet, we ain't talking about it. You shouldn't be there yet.
I love you. See, you must be somewhere. You must be somewhere because, see, I
told y'all once I got off the bus, we were going to talk. You want to talk? We talking.
You got
Let's
me.
Talk.
You got me going. And let me tell you about Rockmond Dunbar because I think the first time I saw him was in The Skinny. No, I saw The Skinny after I knew
Punk.
who he was. Oh, yeah, Punk.
You saw Punk.
Yeah, I saw Punks, and when he did the...
So let me tell you my Rockmond Dunbar story. I had the occasion, to see Punks, I think, twice before I went to an event where there was a magazine, a women's magazine called Venus, that put him on the cover and dubbed him the most beautiful man on television. With this beautiful spread on him, a beautiful article. And then they did a magazine release party at a spot called Soul Cafe in New York City on 42nd Street. Went there, because I knew the publisher and thought, oh, good, I'll just be in space with him, And then what happened is I went to go to the bathroom and he was coming out, and I had on this piece of jewelry, this wood and silver necklace, and he's like, man, that's a beautiful necklace. And I'm like, oh my God, I can see me looking at me, and I was like, man, thank you so much, King. I thought I'd say King because I wasn't saying that, man. I was like, thank you so much, brother, thank you so much. And he walked on by, and then he went to the table, then he went on about his business, having the room devour him with conversation. Then later, myself, the publisher, and my two friends who had invited me, we were at a booth, and he sat down with one of his boys, and they were eating dinner because, in this restaurant, you barely got finger food. Now you're hungry, right? And so they're eating, we're eating. We go to get up, and they're getting up to leave at the same time. And he walks towards where we were because, our table was close to the exit, so I turned left when I should have gone right. And when I turned left to walk toward him, I stopped right in front of him. I said, brother, I just wanted to say thank you. Thank you for this role and this presentation that you gave us. And because this is a role that you will never see an NAACP Image Award or Oscar for, I just want to give you this so you receive something as a symbol of your good work. And I take the necklace off and give it to him. And he's like, brother, no. And I was like, no. You're going to remember this for the rest of your days. Fast forward to the brother had who owned a restaurant called Maroons in New York, probably the summer of the following year, so it was probably 9 months later. And so, every month they do a brunch and a conversation with Broadway star, an actor, a producer, music artist. And so I'm in the room with this Rockman Dumbo conversation, and 20 people at this table because they've closed the restaurant down. And he's talking about what it's like to have somebody ask him what it's like to struggle with representation as a black actor. And he says, but there are times when you do the work, now at the time he was blessed to have soul food. He's like, when you get to have big meaty roles like this where people can see you and love on you, he said, but sometimes you have smaller roles that are more, that are tender, that mean more to your soul. You might not get the ratings. You might not get the accolades. And then he looked over and said, but sometimes a brother will give you a necklace and say, thank you. As a way, and I was like, wait, he remembered me? Wait a minute. And he just looked like, and I felt like Miss Celia at the juke joint. You know what I mean? Remember Miss Celia when Sugar Baby was singing? Because he turned to the whole room, because the whole room looked like, wait a minute now. How come you? Oh, wait a minute. He's looking at you a certain way, but we knew what it was. You know what I mean?
Right.
I want somebody who can authentically do what the assignment is, gay or straight. Right? I want somebody who's not afraid, because it is often us afraid of mom and them, afraid of what stereotype is going to land on us, who won't do the role, right? And I'm not saying that we shouldn't be given the opportunity, but let black actors act.
I like that. Let black actors act. And I want to share something about the music industry on that note. Tank, who I just adore. I catch him in Jay Valentine's. Adore Tank. Love what they're doing over there on their podcast. But Tank performed at an LGBTQ event. Yeah. And
gave them the same show he gave every R&B audience,
He did not give a damn. And another thing, he's so outspoken.
Look, he did not give a damn, or he gave every damn. You know what I'm saying? I know y'all watching. This is how it's done.
He didn't grab his junk and everything.
This is what you get when you effing with me.
and this went and then on a YouTube snippet, he goes, I know what you guys out there saying about me, and he goes, I don't care. I'm a nasty motherfucker. He goes,
I don't care.
Yeah, I like my salad tossed, and I don't give a damn what you said. So. Okay.
But see, we got to be careful, because he says that and they go, see, I told you it was gay. He said, no. My salad toss. One ain't the other. They are not mutually exclusive.
Yeah, so that does give me hope. Now I want to switch lanes for just a minute. I love hearing you talk.
I mean, go switch. You drive.
Yeah, I want to switch lanes for just a second, because you have. You interviewed some of the lates like Tina Turner, Luther Vandross, and Aaliyah, and we miss him so very much. But then there's one that touched my heart even more, and that was your friendship with Natalie Cole. I loved She was like my first love in entertainment. And then I
love that a lot of people have said that to me in hindsight. They were like, oh, my God. A lot of guys have been like, my first crush, my first real entertainment crush was Natalie Cole. I was like, see, brown skin, hazel, green eye. She was stunning, a stunning human being. Go on, ask your question.
Okay, yeah, she really was. And I know that to see someone like yourself who had just as much love as I did, because I was a little gay boy in the hood in East Palo Alto, California. And I'd be in there locked up, listening to I Got Love on My Mind, Party Lights, going on to Natalie Live, I Can't Say No with Sissy and forgot the other lady's name in the background singing it.
Anita.
Just singing. Sissy
Peoples and Anita Anderson.
Yeah. Got to see her perform when she was at a healthy weight. Got to see her perform when she was narrow thin in her addiction. But both times she gave it. And what are your most precious memories of Natalie? What are your most cherished moments? I know you have many because you just adored her. And
got blessed to call her my friend. The thing that leapt to my brain, to my heart when you asked that question was I remember when I graduated college, the summer of '87, and I had said to my mama, wherever Natalie Cole was when I graduated, I was going. And because she was on the comeback trail in '87 with the Everlasting album that gave us Jumpstart and I Live for Your Love, and it went platinum. She was back. She was on tour, and so I was excited because I had checked the tour notes and it said that she was going to be in Australia, and I was like, oh, great, I get to go to Australia. I always wanted to go to Australia, but the week after I graduated, she was in Atlantic City, so I went to Golden Nugget, so I didn't have to worry about spending all that money and travel and all that stuff, but I was going to. And so I took my mom with me, went to Atlantic City. She was doing like a 9 and an 11 show. I took me and my mom went to the 9. And then my mom was like, leave me alone. I'm going to play the slot. So I stayed for the 11 o'clock show. And between the two shows, I wrote Natalie a little note and gave it I saw Robbie, and I was like, oh, my God, Robbie's at the table with somebody. And so I knew, the family was there. So I saw Robbie, and as he went back, I gave the letter to her manager. And I'm thinking, please just give her the letter. I don't want to, I just want her to know I'm here. I don't know what I was thinking. I was just like, please don't just throw it in the trash. Give it to her, right? And so as she was coming, I moved, because I'm sitting by myself now, I moved myself to the front row, and my arm is like sitting on the stage. So I'm front and center, like, and I could see her getting ready to come on stage while the band is playing Everlasting, the opening song, and I'm like, oh, cool, she opened with Everlasting, new stuff, yeah. I could see him talking to her, and he points in my direction, and I'm thinking, oh, my God, is he telling her it's me? Oh, no, he's not. There's a whole bunch of people that he might have telling her some celebrities here. And she comes out, and while she's singing, when she's singing This Will Be, at one point she's doing the hugging and squeezing and kissing and please, and she points at me and waves, and I'm like, oh, my God, that's the greatest day ever, right? I'm thinking, that's the greatest day ever. And then when she's singing I've Got Love on My Mind, she stands middle center, and she's standing kind of right above me, and she looks down and winks, and I'm like, all right, so she done waved at me and sang to me and winked. I'm good. God, you don't have to do anything else. I am great. Well, so she goes to do her final song, and it's, of course, Our Love. She does Our Love, and she says, this song will always be special. It's her encore. The song will always be special to me because it talks about love, but every kind of love. It talks about the love that I have for my son. I originally did this for the song, the love that a man, a man can have for a woman. She said, a man can have for a man, a woman can have for a woman. I loved her for that. I was like, oh, she's like, this is '87, and she said that. But she says it also, speaks to the kind of love that I have for you, my fans. But ladies and gentlemen, tonight I want to speak to a special fan because Kevin has just graduated college.
What?
He wanted to do was come see me, and I was like, oh. So Kevin, come here, and I was like, wait, what?
I love it.
And she sings "I Love" to me on stage, and I was like, oh my God, right? And I'm thinking, That is the greatest thing God could ever do. And as you talked about, in the summer of 1993, after Unforgettable, after winning as many Grammys for Unforgettable with Love as Michael won for Thriller. People forget that. Now they walk away. That project walked away with 7 Grammys, just like Michael did. His 8th was for a project that had nothing to do with Thriller. So they together on that. First black woman to win Album of the Year. You know, she realized that she owes BET an interview. My boss was like, go home and write questions. I was like, oh, my God, I'm going to write questions. Or somebody going to ask Natalie Cole. And I'm thinking that somebody's going to be Donnie Simpson. But when I come back the next day, she said, I've decided who's doing the interview. I was like, decided? I thought it was a given. She said, it's you. And I was like, wait, for what? She said, I don't know, create it. And I was like, I don't understand. This is not how this works. And she said, it's how it works. It's how it's going to work for you because you've got something. And so when I walked into the Sheraton Peninsula Hotel, Suite 1603, to interview Natalie Maria Cole, you know, she hugs me because she knows me. Then she said, so who's doing the interview? And I said, me. She said, oh, hell no. And I was like, oh, see, there it is. We're close, but we're not friends. We're close, but she said, I can't come any closer. And then she sees it on my face, like, because I'm going through imposter syndrome in that moment. She goes, no, baby, no. I'm just saying you have forgotten more about my career than I'll remember. I said, oh, that's okay, Natalie. I'll walk you through your career. And for an hour and a half interview, we did just that. Walked through her career, and it created a show. I thought Lyrically Speaking would be the only one ever. And then Natalie begat Luther, Anita, Lena, you know, people you can call by one name. Lena, Patti, Stevie. And then I left the country to go to Germany with, and then interview in Copenhagen, Denmark, one Tina Turner. So Natalie Cole did all that. You know what I mean? If it weren't for what other artists said, because Luther asked to do that show that Natalie Cole did specifically for you. So, and I'm not even on camera, so there was something about the way she was engaging that made him feel like, I want to do that platform. It feels warm, it feels familiar, and because there's no host, there's no distraction there. You know.
Just I had chill bumps as you were talking, and I do know that you went on to kind of help out with the movie for Natalie Cole. Is that correct?
Yeah.
I think.
So what happened is, if you read Natalie's autobiography, Angel on My Shoulder. So the back story is, let me tell you this real quick. In the summer of '94. There was a day, it was probably spring actually, late spring. Mr. Johnson, Bob Johnson, founder of BET, was serving on the board of the Levine School of Music. He was on the board of governors, and he brought in Nancy Wilson. Nancy Wilson's personal assistant, her man about town, her anchor was a guy named Ed Roebuck, and Ed could not join her that weekend, and so Bob Johnson's office called Mrs. Johnson down the phone and said, Kevin, listen, I need you to be with Nancy Wilson this weekend because you do divas. And I was like, well, what does that mean? Well, the gay boy know what that means. So I meet her at the airport, and I'm assigned to her for the whole weekend, and you know, pull clothes out of the dry cleaner, help her pick the outfit, sit with her at dinner, blah 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 blah. And so the night she got there, Mr. Johnson had an event at his home. I'm with Nancy Wilson. We're standing at the front while she's greeting people. Somebody covers my eyes, and it's not. When I turn around, it's Natalie Cole and her husband. And she's like, "Oh my God, what are you? Oh my God, I knew that was you." And I was like, "How did you recognize me from behind?" Right? I'm just thinking, you know. And so Natalie leans in and says to me, "You'll be glad to hear, but I just signed a book deal with Warner Books, and I'm going to need you." So I sat in BET, you know, for much of end of '98 and most of '99, intermittently getting phone calls with Natalie Cole going over facts about her life. So she was like, "Now, did I get arrested that year? That first year I got stuff. Did I get arrested in August or September?" I was like, "Natalie got arrested on your birthday in February." All right, I'll cut back, baby. And I was like, "What?" And then she asked me, she was like, "Why do you remember this stuff?" I said, "We agreed that you could ask me anything. And I remember everything, and you wouldn't make me feel weird about why. I remember everything because you're Natalie Cole." And so, you know, I ended up helping, you know, with the research in the book. And then when they were almost finished, she said, "So, Kevin, we decided we're going to end the book with my discography, everything I've recorded from the first song with my father to, you know, to the latest thing." And I said, "Okay, and I think you should write it." And I was like, "I'm sorry, what?" So you get Natalie Cole's Angel on My Shoulder, the last 12 pages of Natalie Cole's book, which say Natalie Cole's discography. It's compiled and annotated by Kevin E. Taylor.
Okay, I'm going to have to get that book.
And so it wasn't just a list. It was a commentary on each thing.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And so, and then, but what happened before, so that the book happens, and then as they are working on the movie, what a lot of people don't know, originally was supposed to go to HBO. And so I put together probably a 5-inch dossier of the history of Natalie Cole because they needed the research. And then, and then it moved over to NBC, which gave it a bigger market, which is why she won the NAACP Image Award for Best Actress, because more people saw it than the thing she was competing against. One was from HBO and one was for Showtime. You know what I mean? Anybody on TV saw her on NBC, and you know how that movie still plays. And so, it
does.
Yes, I got to help with the book. I got to help with the movie because I got to help her recall her stories. And, the last picture in the book is the two of us. The last 12 pages are us. And quite frankly, those are my Oscars. They are my Oscars. They are my Grammys. They're my favorite person on earth.
Yeah, and let's talk about favorite. Yeah. Let's talk about favorite people because I know as much love as you had for Natalie, you also had for your queen, your mom. And so when we first interviewed a few years back, both our queens were alive. Phyllis was alive and your mom was alive too. And how has life been after Mama? Because I know you're a daughter just like I adored my mom.
So, one of the things that's really impactful for me in the transitioning of my mother is, as a young gay man without kids and without partner, it was easier for me to do what I wanted for my mother. So I was able to find a flower, every suit, every adornment that she ever wanted, she got from me. So there was nothing left unsaid, nothing left undone. You know what I mean? And so it was just really powerful to be able to have that kind of peace around the idea that I didn't have to cry about blank. I wish I had done blank, because quite frankly, I still have moments of struggle with Natalie Cole because I thought I had more time. But with my mother, 87, everything was said. Everywhere she would let herself go, she would go. She wanted to go to Paris, but she was scared to get on a plane. I was like, Mama, they don't have no buses to Paris. So, so she just kind of let that go because she got on a plane to California both times when I became minister and when I became reverend. So that's when she would get on a plane. Thank God she was there. So, now, what Natalie called her book was Angel on My Shoulder. And that's who my mother is. My mother, watched me spend a lifetime in ministry and in service. And, now when she left, I know she went to God and said, listen, Lord, I know you need him and I know he's useful to you, but I don't like my baby being by himself. So my mama died in January of 2015. In February of 2015, I met someone that I had literally in the industry I've been crushing on for 20 years and found myself with him in my apartment, in conversation. And by March, we had gone on our first date.
I love it. So there's still hope for me. There's still hope for 62 soon years to be on me. Well, let me just tell you, it's funny because I like what you just said because Whoopi said something similar about her mom, and I identify with both statements. You give them all the love. At my mom's coffin, I said, I loved you like there was no tomorrow. I'd call my mama and cry because I said, Mama, I just love you. I just love you so much. She said, boy, what the hell are you crying about, right? and so when that transition happened, I had cried. Now, I'm not saying I haven't cried after, but I sat through that whole service.
Of course, because it's so long.
Yeah, because she's just an angel on my shoulder, just like you said. Now, you talk about the ministry, and I definitely want to hit that while I have you. As a minister, I want to share this with you. Someone asked me after my mom passed, and I know that they didn't mean anything by it. It's just that they're an elder. They go, now, I said, yeah, I hope that God will send me somebody one day, but I'm definitely not searching. It'll just have to be the right thing. And this elder goes, she goes, now, God, she goes, do you love God? I said, of course I do. I have a higher power. She goes, now, God does not like the lifestyle. I said, let me stop you right there because I love you. I said, I love how God made me. I said, and I refused to go back into the darkness that led to the addiction, that led to all of that other stuff, for self-hate. I said, I'm too far out of that, but I'm going to tell you this. God's okay with me, and I just need you to be okay with me, too. And you just have to find your way. So, as a minister, one of the minister, Reverend Cecil Williams up in San Francisco, welcomed everybody into his church. He just recently passed, and he had a huge outreach. So what is it like for you as a gay pastor and your congregation? Has anybody ever, I doubt very seriously, but I'm going to ask this question, has anybody ever stepped to you like that?
I mean, here's the thing, I'm not a small man. And so one has to consider that if you're going to physically step to me. But the other is I'm a pretty big presence. And so, there have been times when I've been on the good Reverend Al Sharpton show when somebody calling in, tried to get snippy. Or one time when I sat on a panel in Harlem for Harlem United with Shirley Ralph, Dionne Warwick, and Ed Gordon, with the late Hadia Broadbent, when somebody tried to come, but Shirley Ralph took care of them before I opened my mouth. So I think that what people are always trying to do is to see what it takes for us to move, and when they realize you won't move, they don't have as much to say. I thank God that the greatest moment in this kind of conversation, in this kind of impact, this kind of ministry moment about God came from Natalie Cole. One day at lunch in spot in L.A., she asked me how I was so okay being who I was, in ministry as a gay man, because her own brother had denounced his sexuality before he transitioned, because a lot of us have gone through those things, trying to pray the gay away. So she said, how are you so okay? And God said, Kevin, just say it. And I was like, Natalie, God keeps on doing great things for me, and God knows it's me. When I don't have any secondary relationship with God, I have sex with the lights on. I ask people out, in any circumstance, or somebody, if they've seen me and heard somebody call me pastor, and I'm still not going to be like, ooh, they call me pastor, and I got to choke it up. I'm me all the time, everywhere, so I don't have to put on different versions of myself. When people say it's a gay pastor, I will say I'm a gay pastor. I'm a pastor who's gay, because people know I'm a gay pastor, but somebody's heard me preach somewhere, and I had a dude come at me after the last funeral I just preached, and he said, the Lord told me I'm supposed to follow you. He wasn't a gay man. Mm-hmm. The Lord told me I'm supposed to follow you. I've done two of the biggest funerals of people in my town. One was an actor and community playwright whose funeral was in our Performing Arts Center, and the other was a designer and an artist whose funeral was in Symphony Hall. Both of those are historic places, and you have these two funerals. I did them both. I'm walking down the street as me and have somebody open the bus and go, "Hey, pastor." I've had people, I had a brother come at me and say, man, I figured if you did that at a funeral, I had to see what you did at church. So here, me and my wife and kids, okay. I've had funerals where I was the only clergy person in that family. It's the lesbian and her wife who had passed, and not mother, because the church wouldn't bury mother because she'd been sick the last year, and so her tithes weren't current, so they weren't going to bury her.
Oh, no, so you didn't say the tithes wasn't current.
You heard me say what I said. She had been out of church the last year. She's a founding member, but because her tithes weren't current, they said that they couldn't bury her. So, pastor, can you do my grandmother's funeral? Of course I can.
Unbelievable.
So it is that. It is my capacity for audacity that gives me permission to be okay showing up wherever God says, children go where I send me. But God has sent me into some spaces that were supposed to be scary for somebody, that might have felt like, but they don't, I was a gay boy in the project. I was born a fat, black, athletic, gay nerd in the project. Church folk don't scare me.
Yeah, and I have to tell you,
somebody who lies to God's face and goes around the back of the church and smokes a cigarette like God can't see around the back of the church.
Exactly. It's funny.
God said, I can see you.
Well, it's funny because when I stepped into where I was, I don't even think, I think I was okay during our first interview when I interviewed you, that I was okay with who I was, but I was still, going there. I said, the little boy in East Palo Alto who used to sit out in the front yard with the Barbie camper, the Barbie dolls, the clothes, the swimming pool, and sit out there and play in the hood. I said, boy, he sure did have a lot of courage, and he didn't even know that he had as much courage. Father drive up, and here I am out in the yard, and it just kind of left me alone. But
you're being out in the yard being. That's why I am. I should say, because he knew who you were. He knows who you were, and you were just being. So he could break your being, or he could let you be.
Yeah. So what have you got going on currently, Kevin? Because I don't want to take up too much more of your time. Because first of all, I just want to say thank you for being on here.
Thank you for being patient with this journey. Because the enemy knew there was something good in this conversation. So
that's why I moved it. I stalled.
Listen. So this October, I will become Bishop Kevin E. Taylor, covering the New York, New Jersey, Pennsylvania, Delaware, Connecticut, Maryland, and Virginia region of Unity Fellowship Church Movement Incorporated. And the reason I really wanted to have this conversation with you is part of what I'm pushing forward, moving in my ministry, is the idea of reimagining Bishop. That's my campaign, is reimagining Bishop, because, post-pandemic and, with social media, and people say, ooh, so-and-so is my pastor, because they get a 3-minute snippet from them, and now they felt like it poured into their spirit. They don't need church no more, da-da-da-da. And so, a lot more people are saying they aren't necessarily religious, they're spiritual. The problem is they don't have religious or spiritual practices. And then the thing they want to do, the dream they have, the thing they were hoping for, doesn't come to fruition, and they lose all hope. They lose their wings. They lose their energy because they don't have an anchor. And so what I'm talking about with this Reimagining Bishop conversation is reminding people that they are each called here to do a thing, that we're here on purpose with a purpose. And in doing that purpose, you're supposed to build your team. You're supposed to lead your destiny. You're supposed to be the director of the journey that you're on. You are supposed to be the pastor. And in doing so, you're supposed to be pulling together the congregation that works with you on manifesting you. And because you don't have the team together, because you're not working in space on your dream, because you keep being follower instead of being the leader you're supposed to be, you don't know how to use a me. Because the bishop is the pastor's pastor, and your assignment is to pastor your life, and you're not doing that. Your assignment is to lead your life, and you're not doing that. Then so many of us think that we're supposed. Look, Richard sermon 2 decades ago called "I Want to Be Vice President." Right? Nobody gets into politics. Nobody runs for office saying, "I'll take vice president." No, you go ahead. You do the presidency. I'll take vice president. Nobody goes into singing suggesting that they will be okay being a background singer. They will do what they need to in those fields to pay rent. They will take the second seat so that they empower. But their original aspiration was for the top, right?
Right.
We forgot to continue to dream our dream for the top. We got settled into being good members at churches, forgetting that we were supposed to pack in our own lives. Jesus came and said, listen, I came that you might have direct access to the Father. Y'all still talking to me. You're still holding things hostage. You're still letting people stop you from being great because they said so. But what the Redeemer said was, you can do all things through Christ's strength. You can do all things through me, and I came to strengthen you. Why are you still so lost, so locked down in the walk that you're on? And it's because we have gotten settled in being good members. Good members are supposed to be building businesses. Good members are supposed to be building families. Good buildings are supposed to be building destinies and dynasties. And we put our little ties in the basket and go back to work and become somebody's secretary, forgetting about the business we said we were going to build, forgetting about the nonprofit we said we were going to start, because bills are due and da-da-da-da-da. Next thing you know, we're 65 and retired and not having lived in the fullness of our journey. So I am grateful to be 60 this year and have you talk about all these things that I've already done and be working in social services and be running an organization in 2 departments and have young people come in my office at work looks just like my office at home. With a couple of gold platinum records. It's my picture with Natalie, my picture with Patty, my picture with Stevie, my picture. And they go, and then the young people go, Mr. Kevin, what are you doing here? Right? Like you could be doing other things. And I was like, but the things you're looking at, I've already done.
Okay.
Even myself is my best friend now. This isn't a memory. This is somebody I talked to this morning because we're friends, right?
I adore her. I do
too. You understand me? And do you know what it's like to be? Imagine what it's like to be a gay boy, and Madam is your best friend.
Wait a minute. When I saw you with Eva, and because I saw her on her America's Next Top Model, and I've been watching in the wings at her growth, and then her portrayal of Madam. That's one badass bitch right there. Excuse me for person. And I said I love me some Eva Marcel. But I love what you said. Pay your tithes, and then going back, and you're not living in your truth. Because look, here I'm going to be 62 at the end of the week. And I am still out here.
Happy early birthday.
Well, thank you so much. Yeah, what a gift I have.
You're still achieving. You're still doing, because because as I say at church, every chance I get, if you're not dead, God's not done.
Yeah, so that's why I said, I see a number of my friends who have retired and they're not doing anything. I said, you know what? You have to keep up with technology. You have to get up and socialize. For every bad thing that social networking is, there are so many other good things to keep you in touch with people.
So many amazing things.
Yeah.
So many.
Yeah,
listen, I found out because of TikTok that there were George Floyd protests in every state in America.
Okay.
Think about that. Think about Wyoming. Think about Iowa. Think about the middle of America, and imagine somebody put together a montage from Alabama to Wyoming, that showed every state in alphabetical order and their George Floyd protests. That's how I knew this technology had power and purpose.
Oh yeah.
You know, that at its day, it's how we found out about the works of Barack Obama. And young people took those campaigns and made them, and took them and ran with them. We wouldn't have known that. We wouldn't have done that if it weren't for our kids and their access to this data. So, like you said, for all of the ratchetness, it's ratchet is on TV. You skip the channel. It's the same on social media.
It definitely is, and so this platform, A Touch of Grace, my dear friend, I'm calling you friend. I hope I get a chance to meet you one day, because something's calling me to come back to New York. I'm looking forward to that. For some reason. Yeah, something's begging me to come to New York, and Lord knows which one of your churches was here, because I am one that says that I am spiritual, because I think I'm just about done with the hurt that early life in church caused me, because of people like you and people I encounter, and also because I see myself in a different light, and that's the big thing about it. But I'm not going to drag this on, but I just want to say from the bottom of my heart, you're always welcome. You always have a door open for you here at A Touch of Grace. Kevin, I got your number locked in. I'll shoot you my number. You got
my number locked in. Save it and use it. You understand me?
I sure will. I just want to thank you on the behalf of the listeners here at A Touch of Grace, you being episode 12, and then I'll take a little short break before I step into season 8. But what a gift you have been for this final episode.
How glorious is it that I get that season 12, 1 and 2 is 3, and it's and that this conversation, is the end of season 7, and that divine number, So look at that.
Yeah, it is. It is.
1 and 2 and 7 is 10. It's its own completion. I love it. I love it.
Well, I am certainly going to enjoy going back listening to this. But Kevin, thank you for your time and your humility and your kindness. And I'm always in the wings watching, Kev. I'm always in the wings watching, and God bless you.
Thank you. That is the wind that keeps lifting me. So keep doing it, brother. I so appreciate you.
I appreciate you. You take care, all right?
You as well. All right. Take good care.
All right. Bye-bye.
All right. Bye-bye.
Okay, everybody listening, that was the phenomenal spirit known as Kevin E. Taylor. Now, if you heard the rooms that he has been in and the people that he has been with, and his long list of accomplishments and achievements, and how he compartmentalizes what he's already accomplished as he moves on to the next thing, you understand that that's where my realm is right now. I'll be 62, but I'm continuing to to move forward. Now, on this final note, I want to leave you with this. Communication is a big part of my ability to maneuver through the rougher patches I encounter on the road of life. Some believe that sharing too much about yourself or your situation is a weakness, and so they hold it all inside. Well, I speak from personal experience that kind of stinking thinking leads you to some very dark places, and over time, you will crumble. Don't be afraid to reach out for help. Don't be afraid to talk about what you're experiencing. God bless you, and thank you for making Season 7 the phenomenal success it has been. And Kevin, thank you so much for being the wind beneath my wing. All right, everybody have a fantastic afternoon, and I'm going to enjoy going back listening to this. God bless you guys. Talk to you later. Carpe diem equals live your life.
So I know you've got a lot going on, but remember, I'm here for you. So bother me when no one's listening, because I will. Bother me when it feels like it won't get better, because it can. Bother me because you're never a bother. Whether it's a low point or a crisis, get help for yourself or a friend. Learn more at neverabother.org or call or text 988, available 24/7.
At Airport Home Appliance, we understand there's more than one type of family or home. That's why we carry the largest in-stock selection in Northern California, with a highly trained staff working around the clock to help get you what you need when you need it. Whether it's a small replacement or a full kitchen remodel, small budget or large budget, we're committed to making your dream kitchen a little more within reach. That's a savings worth celebrating for. Get up to 35% off and zero interest financing for up to 24 months at Airport Home Appliance.